Hey guys, how's it going? So this will tell you how dedicated I am to this channel and making this channel grow. There's a dog barking inside my house, a baby crying and screaming, so I have to go in my car to record this. And the crickets are blazing loud outside, so you can probably hear them, but it might go well with the scary stories that I'm going to be reading today. So I hope you guys know that I'm actually trying to get good quality. I know it doesn't seem like it with the type of videos I'm doing where I'm just reading off Reddit, but I actually do want them to be kind of entertaining. So I hope you guys enjoy them. The scariest thing that has ever happened to me. First, I'll give you a bit of information. When I was a kid, between the ages of 9 and 15, my parents owned a cottage that we'd visit every holiday, except summer, since that's when we went to our home country to visit our family. It was in Canada, 2 floors, my bedroom on the top one. We went to the cottage in September during a 3-day weekend. When we put all of our stuff down, my brothers stayed in their bedroom as they always do. My dad stayed in our home apartment since he had work, and my mom went shopping, since she didn't bring much food. It was the middle of the day, around 12 and 2 p.m. I decided to watch TV for a bit since my mom said I wasn't allowed to go to the pool or lake without my brothers. I didn't like my brothers at the time, so I didn't want to even bother asking them. After my mom came back, we ate, did whatever, and went to bed. I always stayed up late until 3 or 4 in the morning. I laid down in my bed, staring at my phone. I had headphones on, so I could only hear the music I was playing. I took them off since my ears were starting to hurt. As I took them off, I could hear a faint sound coming from the attic, sort of like scratching but also breathing. I was sort of freaked out, but I let it be. Since I was in my edgy phase, I was trying to fall asleep, but I couldn't. The noises were too far from bothersome, so I went outside my bedroom into my parents' room. I laid down next to my mom. What I found a little odd was that the attic entrance in this room, but I couldn't hear any noises. I fell asleep. The next day I went swimming in the pool, played ping pong and watched more TV. And it was night again. I went to my bedroom and heard the noises again. If this had happened today, I would have told my mom. However, since I wanted to be tough and stuff, I just put on my headphones, stayed on my phone. When it was around 3 a.m., I took off my headphones to go to sleep, but then the noises got louder. I was thinking, what in the heck is that noise? And similar things to that. The next day, the last day, my brothers and my mom went to a museum. I refused to go since I wanted to be rebellious, as you already know. I also thought it was an opportunity to open the attic. I was scared like heck. I didn't know what was in there or who. It was a little hard to open, but when I did, there was nothing. I didn't go inside it because I wasn't that stupid, and I went back to my room. I heard the scratching, the breathing noises once again. However, the breathing got even louder. I was so scared that I called my mom and asked her when she was coming back. She said in about an hour. I decided to pass the time by watching more television, but then I heard whistling. It sounded distant but quite loud. It was the row, row, row your boat tune. This time it was coming from outside. I locked the doors, windows, and curtains, and I locked myself in the bathroom with a kitchen knife. After a while, my mom came home and the whistling stopped. She knocked on the bathroom door to let me know, which she always did. I was relieved that she was home. I flushed the toilet to make it seem as I was doing my business, and hit the knife with a towel and quickly put it back in the kitchen. We went back home. We went for Halloween as well, and I couldn't hear the noises anymore. I was scared and creeped out, but I was also glad that it stopped. Pretty scary. When I was younger, I would stay home alone. I would play video games on the couch, and I always heard footsteps in the other room. I would pause the video game and go look in the other room, and no one was ever there. Then I'd go right back to playing, and I could hear the footsteps again. That story reminded me of this when I was little, and I got pretty scared. The ghost in the white dress. For some background info, My family and I visit my stepdad's side of the family once in a while. It's a 4-hour drive, so we always get up early to get a head start. We sometimes visit on Christmas too. Now for the story. One night when I was staying over at my cousin's house when my family visited, we were in the mood for telling scary stories, so we went out to my cousin's dad's truck to tell them. They told me some freaky crap and I was a bit scared, but not to the point where you're scared. After that, it was time to go to sleep. This part was irrelevant, so I'll just add it in. When we were about to go to sleep, some beephead hit our car and left back light was destroyed. Anyway, let's continue. After that, we called the cops and talked to them, and we went to sleep. I kid you not, around 3 a.m., I wake up, and I see someone sitting on a chair that was in the room that I was sleeping in. I reach out thinking it was my sister and call out for her name. No response. While I'm reaching out for whoever was sitting in the chair, it seemed like my hand went through them. I was shook. All I can make out of her was that she had a white dress on, but I didn't see her face. As I said, I was shook, so I woke up my other sister to ask what time it was, and she said it was 3 a.m. I asked her to dim the lights in the room, and she agreed. I was too scared to tell her what I saw that night, but I didn't want to tell her because I didn't want to spook her out. In the morning, I woke up and I went to the living room to where my cousins were sleeping. I told my cousin what happened, and he was weirded out, and we left it at that. Here's a bonus story. I think it was the last day of November of 2020 when this took place. Me and my sister were watching YouTube on our phones, and in the middle of that, the window behind me opened. My cousins were at Mexico at the time, so it was just my family in their house. My sister and I stared at the open window, and my sister signals me to go to the room where my mom and stepdad were. I told my mom that I think that someone was trying to break in, so she came with me to the living room. She closed the window and locked it. I was scared to the point where I didn't go to sleep. Also, in the middle of that, pots in the pantry started to move, and my mom said not to worry about it. The pots and pans were moving for about an hour until stepdad opened the pantry. It was just a mouse. My stepdad let the cat out and let it eat the mouse. I still stayed up, and now my mom was already asleep, and I was just wide awake. I'm not joking when I say this, but while I was scared and wide awake, I hear a little tapping on the front door. It stopped, and I knew that someone wanted in. I stayed up until my family woke up. I also forgot to mention that there was a big A-hole in the wooden fence that my cousin's house had. But the weirdest part is that the intruder had to know that my cousins went to Mexico, because why would they know when to break in? My thoughts are that the ghost in the white dress opened the window, or an intruder did, realizing that there were still people in my cousin's house. My cousin's family were informed, and they're now more cautious. Pretty spooky. Spooky dooky. This next one would freak me out. I'm telling you guys, I'm getting scared sitting here in my car, and it's super hot outside even though it's 10:30 at night. I'm sweating. My Google Home is acting weird. Before I start, I may mention this is a true story, not fiction. So a few years ago, it was my birthday, and my parents bought me a Google Home as a gift, as it was getting resold for dead cheap. I loved talking to it. I didn't have many friends, so it was a replacement for them. Oh, that's pretty sad. A week passed, everything was fine, or seemed fine. A week passed, everything was fine, or seemed fine. I just liked to sit in my room alone, talking to it for hours on end. The next night, something happened that I wish to forget but can't. So I was alone in my room at night. Everyone in my house was asleep. I wasn't falling asleep no matter how much I tried. It was dead silent in the house, which was suddenly broken by the sound of my Google Home, listening to someone or something. Neither I nor anyone else in the house said a word. Then the Google Home replied with, "Roses are red, silent as a mouse. Your door is unlocked. I am inside your house." Suddenly I heard the floorboard creak right outside my door. We don't have any pets, so it couldn't be that. I screamed as loud as I could. My parents came running into my room and asked what happened. I explained everything. They said I must be dreaming or imagining it, but I knew it wasn't a dream. They went back to their room. 10 minutes past the incident. It was dead silent again, which again was broken by the Google Home listening. The response it gave me still gives me chills. It said, "Oh, I can't read that. If you guys want to read this, then you can, but I'm not going to say this. Beep is beep. Beep is everything. And all hail beep. All hail beep. All hail beep." Repeating again and again. Each time it sounded getting louder and louder. Suddenly the deep voice from it screamed, and I screamed. I got up and saw the lights on it, that are supposed to be white. They were red. My parents came running again, and they saw it too, and quickly plugged it out. At that point I started crying. The next day my parents decided to take it back to the guy they bought it from. He said, "It's back here again the 8th time," which means some people bought it some 8 times and sold it back. My parents asked why it gets returned every time. He said each time they come back, they say it's cursed by a demon or something. Since then, I have never thought about getting a new one of those. That would be so scary. I'm sure a lot of people listening, if anyone is listening, I'm sure a lot of people listening have smart devices in their home. Imagine if this happened to you. What would you do? I know I would be so scared. I would probably throw that thing out the window and never get it. Man, that is scary. False awakening story. When I was younger, I always had nightmares. It would seem they would happen consecutively night after night. Now I've only had 2 false awakening dreams or so. In my dream, I woke up. It was morning, nothing unusual, so I just went to get some water at the kitchen. My kitchen was a short hallway leading into it. So I was walking in, but I saw my dog just sitting there facing the door that goes outside. It felt pretty normal, nothing weird, until I just heard my dad and mom calling my dog. Then I heard it. What I assumed was my actual dog jumping on the bed. I got a big chill down my spine as I looked back at my dog standing in the hallway. It turned its head to face me and suddenly lunged at me, knocking me down. Then I woke up. It was still dark, it wasn't morning. My back was very cold, or it felt very cold, and I felt very scared, and I just got the instinct to look at my surroundings, and I looked over at my door and just saw my dog again, staring back at me. My dog is black and white. I could partially see its white fur and eyes in the small opening. I got the feeling I was falling, and I actually woke up. My back was cold just like in the dream. I just covered myself in blankets and fell back asleep, too scared to look over. This reminds me of something that happened to me a while ago. There was a time that one of my kids were sick in the crib, so I was laying down next to the crib by him, laying on my back, just falling asleep, listening to them breathe. And I thought I was still awake, but suddenly I saw this big black figure above me. This thing had horns, it had black eyes, it had a skeleton face, it had some sort of armor on it, and it just had its hands down to its sides, and it was just staring straight at me, and I was just looking straight back, and I couldn't move. My eyes were just open, just looking at it, and then I tried to close my eyes, and I finally got my eyes closed, and I opened my eyes again, and it was still there, just staring at me, and I was so scared. This was probably one of the most scary times of my life. I just felt like I was staring at it for hours and hours and hours. And then finally I woke up. Or I got up. I don't know if I woke up. I just got up eventually. I'm assuming I woke up. But anyways, guys, that is the end of the video. You're welcome for sitting in my hot, sweaty car at 10:30 at night for getting it done. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends to help the channel grow. I appreciate all you guys and love you so much.